Look at this chart here. And this part is the Asia. And in fact, a lot of Asia, we export our products for Malaysia, Ipoh, Penang is electronic products, to European nation. So that's what we see here. So it goes through this path called the Red Sea, and through this narrow canal called the Egypt, and to Europe. Now, this path was of course disrupted since beginning of November last year, just about less than 3 months ago. And today we have the Red Sea crisis. Yeah. And so what is the impact of this disruption here? Is that because of this harassment, Red Sea harassment, about 40 to 60% of the shipping company now today have choose to move, instead of going through this canal, Red Sea, now have choose to route across Africa to European nation. And just by doing that, about 60%. 60% means that if every day there's 1,000 vessels shipped through the Suez Canal, today just 400. Means that the other 600 vessels are going through this route, which is a very long route. It extends every vessel by another 8 to 18 days. And each vessel by that, depending on size, they have to pay extra costs, fuel costs, shipping costs of a few $100,000 US per vessel. So what do you think that will translate to? It will translate to the cost to the consumer. We have to pay, but it will take time. When I say take time, these are called supply chain disruption. And when was the last time that we have encountered the supply chain disruption? COVID. Yeah, I heard COVID now. Yeah, COVID started in beginning of 2020. But when did the inflation start to pick up? From 2%, I'm referring to US, to 4% and above. It took them 1 year, 4 months. Only in 2021, April, the US inflation started to cross above 2 and stay at 4. 1 year, 4 months. So what I'm referring here is that please take note of the events of the Red Sea disruption here, the harassment. Inflation, they may not be felt, but things are happening right now. The natural gas are moving off, up from November low, just about less than 3 months. And palm oil, last check this morning, it was 400 points higher from November. And crude oil, from about $60, today is nearing $80. So that will translate down to CPI higher number later. And what will be the Fed decision? So what I'm trying to say here is that there's a lot of geopolitical tension around. So this is important. The expansion of geopolitical tension is just one part. And before that, we have the China-US, which is not resolved yet. And we have the Russian-Ukraine war is not resolved yet. And today we have the Middle East. And to micro describe it is the Red Sea crisis. So there's a lot of happening right now, which is risk number one, and that may translate down to risk number two because of inflation. Just like I mentioned, right, everything will take time. There's a delay effect, so we got to watch out very carefully about the coming US CPI number, which will also affect the rest of the world. And this route between import-export is about 80% of the whole import-export of the entire world. So, with this U-turn inflation, what do you think the Fed will do? Maybe for coming months you'll cut some rate, but definitely if the CPI start to make a U-turn again, they may also consider the whole and hike more rates. So of course you ask me whether Fed will hike rate or not. Honestly, I'm not in the position to tell you whether they hike or stay or cut. Even if Jerome Powell standing here today, you know what he will say? He also said, I will not do. I listen to him very carefully every meeting. I take minutes. I look at the video, I look at the transcript, I take minutes of what he said. Now, if you're going to ask Jerome Powell, say, I am Jerome Powell, I stand here today. If you ask him this question, Mr. Powell, are you going to cut rate, hold rate, or hike rate? You know what will Jerome Powell say? I breathe so much into him. Every of his meeting, I listen 1 hour, I take note, I do transcript of what he said. You know what he will say?
if you ask him this question, are you going to cut rate, stay rate, or cut high rate? He will say this, it depends on the totality of the incoming data, which is US CPI. We will have a month-to-month meeting and decide there and then. That's what he was saying. He means that he also do not know. It depends on what is the outcome.